Minister's decision to apologise and cut his holiday short. I'm interested in both your takes on that, because I've got to say I'm a bit uncomfortable with the whole thing. The PM said, "I deeply regret any offence caused to any of the many Australians affected by the terrible bushfires by my taking leave with family at this time. I have been receiving regular updates on the bushfire disaster, as well as the status of the search for and treatment of the victims of the White Island tragedy." Now, Kate, is this apology needed? Isn't the Prime Minister entitled to have a week's holiday with his young children, especially given that the fighting bushfires doesn't fall under his responsibility? It's a state issue.
Look, there's great weight in what you say, Rita, and I'm mindful also, Sophie, I've taken way too much bandwidth and I want to give you plenty of time on this. Look, I think he showed a cloth ear, Rita. I'm disappointed in his judgment. I agree with you. He's entitled to a holiday. The circumstances around this, given what we both know of this Prime Minister, that he doesn't have a tin ear normally, he's very much on the pulse of ordinary Australians. These are very serious bushfires. The smoke, the breadth of apprehension around the community and the number of fires burning, I think warranted probably working up until Christmas Eve. I suspect what he needed to do was defer his holiday, be seen, get on the front line. Tony Abbott's out there, by the way, and the woke have not thanked him for being there. Yes. He's been out fighting consecutively for a number of days now. I'm in touch with him by text. No thanks to Tony, by the way. But I personally think, I couldn't agree more. It isn't his direct responsibility, but symbolism matters at a time, and it is a national crisis, frankly. It's in a number of states now. You've got a lot of people at risk. We've lost a lot of homes. Everywhere you go, this is a topic, and I think the PM needed to be present and needed to be visible during this. It's a bit like military leadership. When the troops are facing danger, you let them know you're in there in more than spirit. And I think what he needs to do now is get out on the front line quickly, and I think he needs to probably address the nation on Christmas Day, do the equivalent of a Queen's message, and pull us together again after this. It's the first really serious bad judgment that I've seen from him. I've been a bit surprised, frankly.
Well, he also released a statement, Sophie, saying that he was initially going to take a holiday, I think, in January, but he's now got a trip to India and Japan. He's been invited by the Prime Ministers of both countries, so that duty obviously takes precedence. So he picked this 1 week to go to Hawaii with his family. I don't know, I think, has his office, Sophie, do you think, been spooked by the Twitter backlash and the Canberra Press Gallery losing its mind? Because I think the average punter out there does not hold this against him, does not think he's been derelict in taking a week with his family. What do you think?
Look, I think he's very entitled to his holiday, absolutely. I don't think his media team handled it very well. They weren't honest about him going away. They were caught lying to journalists about where he actually was. That never ends well. Thank goodness he hasn't had the photos, you know, lying by the pool drinking a mojito. That would have been an absolute disaster. But he is entitled to his break. But as Kate is saying, things have got very real now. We've had 2 firefighters that have just died, and he needs to be showing that he's here. I'm surprised Anthony Albanese hasn't used it as an opportunity to smack him. I give him credit,
because Anthony Albanese came out and actually defended him and said these attacks against him are unfair. And I've got to say, I can't recall previous Prime Ministers being criticised for taking holidays when there's been a crisis unfolding. And we've got to remember, these bushfires are terrible. It is a national crisis, but they've been going on for months. It's not something that started a day before he decided, I'm off to Hawaii.
That's right, and it was something that he planned as a surprise with his family. You know, on Twitter we had Lara Worthington, who anyone cares what
Lara
she actually
Bingle
thinks. You know, where the bloody hell are you, PM? No one cares, Lara, what you think. And then, you know, you get these people on Twitter, you think that that's mainstream. I think the average Aussie thinks ScoMo is well entitled to his break, but he needs to be here now, because when we've had death of firefighters, it's very serious.
And I think...
And let's not forget either, guys, Harold Holt went swimming on the 17th of December. I tweeted this, actually, and we've never seen him since. At least ScoMo's coming back.
Oh, well, I saw some very, distasteful tweets, not yours, but wishing the same fate on ScoMo, which just shows you how hateful these people could be.
That was very poor indeed, yeah, saying they wish he'd drown. And that, if you wrote that about anyone on the left, you would be accused of triggering a suicide risk.